Hey YouTube, this is Steven. Welcome to my channel, Simple Tesla Life. I'm actually recording on my way home from work. I know it's typical, I'm usually doing this in the morning, but this morning's commute didn't work out. I had some business calls I had to take. So if you see sun, actually sun just went behind some clouds, but if you see some sun in my face, that's what it is. So let me give you a quick update on what's happening. As you can tell, this is the first video in my Tesla Model 3. So excited about that, to be now taking drives to work in my car. And the experience of delivery was definitely unique and different. It was not anything like, a traditional car pickup pickup experience. So last I think I left this, we picked the car up on Saturday, and I posted a video on the delivery and some remarks from my wife and I as we were going to pick up the car. That was a fairly short video, but our delivery appointment was 2 p.m. on Saturday, so we were there very prompt and on time. And when you walk in, it's kind of a waiting room, waiting area. They had probably, 15 to 20 people in there, but that included, parents and their kids, because there were people who brought their kids in to pick up their car. And so we went to approach the check-in area, because there was a lady that was taking names to do check-in, but she just asked us to wait. It was very evident that they were just very, very busy, maybe even backed up a little bit. So I stood around and waited. I waited for probably maybe about 10 minutes. And then she finally called me over and said, okay, I can check you in now. So just simply took my name and then told us to have a seat, and they would get back to us. And so the waiting began. Furthermore, so at this point we're in 10 minutes, and we probably waited another 30 minutes. I would say it was probably a good 30 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe 40, before she called us back over again and said that there were just a couple other people ahead of us, and then they would be ready to do our paperwork. And so we waited a little bit longer, and then I would probably say it was about maybe an hour and 10 minutes. We got called up for paperwork. The paperwork was very quick, right? It was just signing documents about the loan agreement and trade-in and all those kinds of things. And then they went to get the vehicle and bring the vehicle up. So by the time they probably brought the vehicle up to us, it was probably about an hour and 20 minutes into our time there, maybe a little bit longer. So that was our first opportunity to see the vehicle, and I did a quick check of the car, and there was one area of paint that had some kind of a swirl mark. Maybe it was some buffing issue or something, but in the sunlight it was very prevalent. When you rubbed your hand on it, you couldn't really feel anything, so there were no scratches or anything, but it was just a very visible swirl pattern that was discolored and different from the rest of the paint. So I pointed that out. They immediately took the car back to the shop. They probably had it for another 10 or 15 minutes. So we waited around a little bit longer, and then they brought the car back out, and the guy that brought it back out was not the one that we had first dealt with. And he clearly, they hadn't explained to him, I guess, what the issue was, because they didn't fix it. So I pointed out to him what the issue was. I think he was the one that was actually doing the work on the paint, or trying to he would be the one trying to fix the problem. So he took the car back again, did some more, came back, and it was finally taken care of. It was some buffing that needed to be done, and it was, again, it wasn't a huge or major issue, but it was just evident that the paint wasn't quite right with the swirl marks where it was at. And anyway, so that took care of that. And at that point, we were probably an hour and 45 minutes into being there. While they were doing the buffing and kind of taking care of that in the back, we got to talk to some other people there. I was really amazed at the the demographics of people. I mean, there were young couples or younger, very young. Probably there were people there, and guys. There was a guy there I know, he was probably in his 20s. There was another couple there that was maybe late 20s, early 30s. There was a couple that was clearly probably in my age range, and I'm just over 50, but some older, and then there was a couple that was outside. Literally, their Model 3 was just next to ours in the lot that we were all in, and they were, I would say late 60s maybe, so much older than me, but and not somebody I would have pegged as a Tesla owner. Not trying to put people into boxes, but they lived in the country, out in the country here in Colorado. I think she may have even said they were on a dirt road. And so we were intrigued by their story, and we were like, so what caused you to buy a Tesla? And she said that they had a neighbor who has 5 of them, and who just swore up and down how great the cars were and loved his cars and showed off his cars to them. And they were so impressed by this guy and they said that he sold many of them to other people. So they kept saying how he was the best Tesla salesperson out there for these vehicles, that they just wanted to get one. And so there they were at the dealer, or at the Tesla store. And the lady, I was talking to the wife, and she had questions about charging and some things that I think were probably things that many of us would already have studied and read up about before coming in to get one. But she had clearly had some questions about some things like that, how this car, I guess, would function for them and charging at their home. Anyway, so it was fascinating to me to see the broad appeal, which I'm sure is exactly what Tesla loves naturally, right? The broader appeal these cars are to the market, the better. So anyway, that was really cool to get to experience just and talking to other owners that were picking up their cars there that day. So by the time we got out of there, after we got the vehicle back the second time, everything was fine. We kind of finished transferring things over from other car, and we were out of there probably a little over 2 hours. It was a little long. I mean, I'll admit the waiting at the very beginning was not fun. It was a Saturday, understandably. We're in September. It's the last quarter, or last month of the quarter. So clearly they were making their quarter push. And I did ask one of the service or support advisors, what's how many deliveries will they do in a day, and then what was their max. And I think that the day we were in there, they were doing, I want to say, somewhere close to 70, I think it was. And I asked them, what was their high, and one of the guys said it was like 130 or something like that in one day. So anyway, they were moving people through there, but you could tell they were also, I mean, they were challenged trying to stick to their schedule that we were on. So anyway, so got the car. That was Saturday. Had the car Sunday, and then I left on Sunday evening for a business trip, and I took the car to Denver International, parked it there, an indoor parking place that actually also has charging, Tesla chargers, a great facility. Fine airport parking, that's FINE. And they have covered parking at Denver International that costs a little bit more, but they have chargers that are there as well. So anyway, I was able to plug in, went on my business trip. That was probably the hardest part, was knowing that I was picking up the car, only getting to drive it for a day and a half, and then I was off on a trip. And then came back Wednesday night, so that was last night. Actually, this morning, it was a really late flight that got in early this morning. This is Thursday morning. And then here we are. So I drove the car into work today. I did get to use full self-driving on my trip out to the airport. On the trip going to the airport on Sunday evening, traffic actually was pretty busy. It wasn't stop and go at all, but it was a lot of cars on the interstate that I was on. and I was new to the whole full self-driving experience. So at one point I think I put the car into, and forgive me, I'm still learning the terminology, but I put it into, I don't know if it's autopilot, that is where you're just following the car in front of you. But I put it into that mode where the car basically just follows in the lane, and it will go to whatever speed you set, and if there's a car in front of you, it will follow behind, but it's not gonna pass or make lane changes or exit or anything like that. And then there was a couple of times where I had to take it out of autopilot because, again, there was just a lot of traffic around, and there was a couple of times where I felt it was a little squirrely. And again, possibly part of that could have been me just getting a feel for what this car feels like when it's driving you. And then on the way back, this morning, literally my flight got in at like, I don't know, it was 11:30, but by the time I got to my car, it was probably, by the time I got to my car, it was probably 12:30, and then my drive home was like 45 minutes to, and so the traffic was just like, there was hardly any traffic naturally, and the full self-driving just was great. I plugged in my address to go home, got on the interstate, and engaged the full self-driving, and I only had to take it out once, and that was for one kind of interchange change that required kind of slowing down. It was just a little bit more technical, and I didn't want to have to worry about the car just doing it. I just took it out and did it myself. So anyway, so I've had two instances already of using that, and it's been fun, and I feel like I'm already just really enjoying and going to enjoy that capability, especially on longer road trips. The last thing I'll say is version 10 software came out today. It hasn't been pushed to my car yet. I'm anxious to get home and get on Wi-Fi, so hopefully I'll get a push here soon and can do the version 10 install. But unfortunately, I'm also leaving again tomorrow night, Friday night. My wife and I are going on a cruise, and so I'll be leaving the car for a full week, and won't get to drive it until next week. So, and then again, I won't be posting any videos while I'm out. I will try to maybe take some. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I've thought about trying to post a few on the channel. We'll just see how it goes. I'm not always the best person to be taking video, especially on vacations. I just check out and kind of relax. So anyway, that's how things have gone. It's been, the car has been wonderful. Everything works. Paint looks great. I do need to, accessory wise, maybe that's another conversation. There's things I'm going to be doing to it accessory wise. And I'm certainly open to suggestions. So welcome comments and feedback there. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks everybody. Bye.